school. Okay, everybody, let me get rid of this little box that comes up on the screen. And there we go. Okay, so welcome back to Thera-Fitness. And I think most of you know by now, I almost don't want to call this an exercise class, because usually when people think of exercise, they think of all kinds of repetitions and specific movements. Maybe you can come up with a name for what Thera-Fitness is, because my focus is on both educating you and as well as giving you certain techniques that you use in your everyday or can use in your everyday life, so that everything you do during the day can become a fitness exercise and be something that lets you be a little bit safer as you go about your day, maybe help you prevent some injuries when you're going to bend and lift and carry things. And before I start with our ABCs, which are alignment, breathing, and centering, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about feet. Now, we do a movement in this in Thera-Fitness, which is geared at increasing the amount of flexibility and mobility and strength and conditioning in your feet. Well, I have to tell you that I'm 77 years old now, never really had balance issues. But one of the things I've noticed as I've been working with you and preparing this class is that we really need to pay more attention to our feet. And it's not always possible to, get the kind of massage that we might like that might be helpful in stimulating the circulation, helping make sure that the feet have as much flexibility in them as possible. You'll notice I'm moving my hands because I used to do a lot of foot mobility exercises. And when we do the balance exercises and when we do the walking portion in the class, the more you become more conscious of your feet, of how they carry your weight, and the more you help them develop the flexibility and mobility and conditioning, the better your chances are going to be of increasing your balance. We don't do it here, but when you are home, one of the things that I'd recommend is especially if you have carpeted area near a doorway, or maybe you have a mat with, a texturized mat that can be placed in the frame of the door, on the door sill, and with your bare feet, actually do things that will stimulate what we call proprioception in your feet, their ability to feel, to sense what they are doing, how your weight is shifting when you do balance work. So it just struck me today that I really want to encourage you to, I could be corny and say play footsie, but I'd like to encourage you to really spend some time, get to know your feet, give them some love, do whatever you can that will help bring circulation and increase conditioning to them. The other thing that's important is the shoes you wear. And one of the reasons that, many of us have lost some of the flexibility in our feet is because of the shoes we wear, especially, women who in their younger years especially tended to wear shoes that squeeze the toes. We're not even going to talk about certain cultures where feet where women's feet were actually bound. But we do enough damage to ourselves by wearing shoes that do not give the toes room to move, that are not the right size. And don't think that, if you normally wear a size 7.5 shoe, that all 7.5 shoes are going to be the right size, because depending on the manufacturer, like what country the shoes are made in, the length of the arch in the shoe can be very short, can be very long. So you want to learn how to actually know if a shoe is the right size for you. So I might as well digress while I'm at it. And if you're going to try on and see if a shoe fits, you want to be standing with your full weight on your feet. You want the wide, and I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you want the wide part of your foot to line up with the wide part of the shoe. So I know people are used to having fingers poked at the toe of the shoe to see if it's the right size. That's one thing to check, because you certainly don't want your big toe pressing up against the end of the shoe. But in addition, you want to make sure that the wide part of your foot matches up with the wide part of the shoe. You want to be able to walk around wherever you buy your shoes. You want to have both shoes on. You want to be able to walk around in them. And if those shoes aren't comfortable from the beginning, don't count on using your feet to stretch them or do something to them so that they become more comfortable. So that's in terms of getting shoes that fit. The other thing is, if you can, avoid shoes that are plastic, that don't allow your feet to breathe. And, that may also cause them to perspire, which can have several negative effects. And I think the last thing I'm going to say about it is for anybody with loss of sensation in the feet, called neuropathy, which can often happen as a result of diabetes, or it was something else, any other loss of circulation in the feet. You really want to make sure that they can breathe in the shoe, that you take the time to be out of your shoes and exercising your feet, and of course do the exercises that we do here. Okay, that's today's lecture. So let's do our alignment, breathing, and centering. And first thing, in order to get our best alignment, we're going to use mental imagery. We're going to think of lengthening. And by the way, I should have said beforehand, I'd like to have you sitting towards the front edge of your chair. Hopefully you're sitting in a sturdy chair. If it has armrests, okay. Eventually, I'm hoping you're not going to need armrests. Right now, let's go back to the alignment, the lengthening. And then I say lengthen, open. And as you think open, I'd like you to become aware of any tension that you may have around your neck and shoulders. So the opening, or the thought of opening, is letting go of that tension, letting those muscles relax and release. So your trunk, right, this part of your body, stays lengthened, but the shoulders relax and they drop down and back. So I'm going to give you profile. And here we go. We lengthen. And you may notice that your chest sticks out a little bit more. Your back arches a little bit more as you do the lengthening. And you let those shoulders drop down and back. So just take a few moments and really sense your good alignment. the best you can make it. Now, if you have what you would call structural changes, where the bones in your spine have already taken on, let's say, a curved shape, you could say, well, that's my body structure, I can't do anything about it. But in reality, at least, even if you can't come up to the fully lengthened posture, at least let's try to keep that curve from getting worse. One of the main reasons is because it's going to interfere with your ability to take deep breaths. We'll get to that. So we've lengthened, we've opened. So while we're here, still in alignment, let's also work to get the head back on the trunk, which is part of having that nice lengthened spine. So the exercise we do for this is the turtle exercise. And what you're going to do is imagine yourself looking at your eyes in a mirror. So you pretend there's a mirror in front of you. You keep that lengthened, opened position. And now I'd like you to think about, just gently, it's not a big move, gently pressing your face towards the mirror. So I'm not bending my body forward. I'm just pressing my face forward, protruding. I know it's hard to see here, but you might think of sliding the chin forward on a flat shelf. You'll also notice when I do that, that it increases the curve in my neck or in the cervical area of the spine. And this is actually compressing the nerves and muscles, blood vessels that run to our arms and up to our brain. So people who have what we call a forward head position are probably are prone to things like headaches and even pain down the neck and shoulders, even down to the arms. So we've lengthened, we've opened, we've pressed the face forward, and now you're going to tuck your chin or slide it back on that shelf, keeping your trunk erect, and just find the image that will have you lengthen your spine from the back of your head. If you want to do what I'm doing, if it helps you get that sense of lifting up from the back of your head, that's fine. Whatever image works for you. So let's do that again. We're aligning, lengthening, opening, pressing the face forward, and tucking the chin back. I'm going to do that another couple of times. So, like I said, this is often referred to as a turtle exercise. Pressing the face forward, tucking the chin. One more time, pressing the face forward and tucking the chin. I'm going to stay in profile because the next move related to alignment is going to be becoming conscious of tilting your pelvis. So the pelvis is down here. If you put your hands like if you had side pockets, you'd be touching the pelvis. Good alignment involves having the normal arch of the back. For many people, especially if they've had jobs where they've had to bend forward a lot, or if they are used to sitting in non-supportive chairs, God forbid a recliner, that's poison, but we won't talk about that now. They may have people who have had habitually rounded posture. They may have lost the ability to have this natural, normal curve in the arch of the back or the lumbar spine. And one of the ways that we're going to try to make sure you've got that arch is we're going to work with the pelvis. So we're going to align, breathe in center. We're going to think of tipping the pelvis forward. Now, images that might help you with this are thinking of pressing the belly forward. All right, I'm still staying as upright as possible, but you'll notice the hips have kind of reached out behind me, stomach has gone forward, chest has gone forward. Now I'm going to rock the pelvis back to a neutral position. And now think of pressing your belly button back against your spine. There's going to be a little bit of a move of the pelvis rocking backwards. All right, we're going to go back to neutral. And now, again, we're going to tip the pelvis forward. Notice that you get that nice increased arch in the small of your back or the lumbar area. Back to neutral. Press that belly button back against the spine so the pelvis is rocking back. Return to neutral, what I'm calling neutral. And we're going to, once again, tip the pelvis forward and return to neutral. And we're going to stay there. So that's your pelvic tilt. And between the pelvic tilt, the imagery of lengthen open, and the turtle, you are now developing the flexibility that your spine needs in order to be as erect as possible. You're starting to condition what we call the core muscles, which are the muscles that help support your spine and keep you nice and tall and erect. And at the same time, you're developing consciousness of when there might be tension around the neck and shoulders, which you know really doesn't help good posture. It just helps tension. So lengthen, open, those shoulders drop down and back. So I'd like you to keep that lengthened posture now. Chin tucked, back of the head is nicely lifting. You get that nice lengthening. Oh, and actually, we're going to do one other thing before we go to breathing. So make sure your feet are able to be flat on the floor. And what you're going to do is two things at the same time. One is you're going to align your breathe and breathe in center. And then you're going to think of pressing those feet flat down on the floor. So again, you may want to find an image like, I don't know why, I always think of wet cement, like trying to press through to wet cement. Now, at the same time that you're pressing down with the feet, I want you to think about trying to lengthen from that spot in the back of your head, lengthen. So this is going to be what we call an isometric. And it's really important that you maintain your breathing pattern. The fact that I'm talking lets you know that I'm breathing. I can't hear you, you're not talking to me. And you may be holding your breath. You don't want to do that. So we're going to align. I'm conscious of that breathing. We're going to be pressing down with the feet, the whole foot. And we're going to press up with the back of the head. And if you're doing it right, you're going to feel pressure in your knees, your thighs, your buttock, right through the stomach, up through your back muscles. As you keep doing it, you may even feel the muscles right up to the back of your head tightening. So just hold that as long and as hard as you can, but when you can't anymore, just slowly release. So you can't really see what's happening to me as I do this. But if you were here and you were able to put a hand on my abdominal area and on my back, you would feel that as I'm doing it again, align, breathe, center. As I press down, so go ahead, press down. And at the same time, think of lifting up. Make sure that my neck and shoulders aren't involved, and just keep pressing pushing as long and as hard as I can. For each one of us, it's going to be different. And when you just can't press anymore, you can't hold it anymore, you just slowly release. So this is one of the many exercises that we do that you can be doing throughout the day, right? Assuming you have a dining room chair that's not on wheels like my friend has, but you have a sturdy chair where you can sit solidly, get your feet on the floor, do your ABCs, and do the foot press. We'll call it a foot press head lift exercise. Maybe that's a good way to describe it. You will find, especially those of us that, or those of you who have little tummies and wonder about getting rid of them, you'll actually find that this is a wonderful way to start toning up your midsection. Everybody who's with me today, I want you to know we're all feeling our midsections. Okay, so let's keep that good postural alignment and spend a moment talking about breathing. And what I like to emphasize as part of Thera-Fitness is that you become conscious of your breathing. Breathing is an automatic thing. We do it without thinking most of the time. For many of us, we don't realize that when we're under stress, that our breathing automatically becomes more shallow. Right? But for improved health and stress reduction, you want to be able to slow that breathing down. And in order to do that, you've got to become conscious of your breathing. Okay, so yes, it can be automatic, it'll happen automatically, but what we're talking about is empowering you to take more control of how your body responds, especially to stress. So we're going to do the alignment. We're going to lengthen. We're going to open. Shoulders are going to drop down and back. Chin rides back, tucks in. And now just take a few moments to tune into your breathing, to become conscious of it. And just breathe, what I'm going to call it normally. Just take some time to sense your breathing. And I'd like you to keep doing that. And what I'm going to be doing is planting some seeds. Some people talk about, like making suggestions, the power of suggestion. So I'm going to suggest that you become conscious of breathing in through your nose. That's the first thing. Again, many people, for different reasons, one of them could just be habit, breathe through the mouth. So you want to take this time that you're doing conscious breathing to make sure that you're inhaling, breathing in through the nose. That warms and that filters air. And I've also read recently that it increases a production of nitrous oxide, which supposedly is really good for our circulation. I think we all could use that. The next thing I want to say about your conscious breathing, now that you're breathing in through the nose, is I'd like you to become more focused on your exhalation, the blowing out. So you're going to breathe in through the nose. And as you exhale, I want you to do it as slowly and as fully as you can. I'm going to pull my mask down for a moment because the way I'd like you to breathe out, even though, yes, you could do it through your nose, I'd like you to think of breathing out either through pursed lips. So it would be like making a little whistle. This is where less is more. The slower and the softer you go, the more complete your exhalation is going to be. And I'll explain why we want that. The other way you might do your exhalation is through a hissing sound. I usually do that with live classes so I can hear how long people are able to exhale. So in through the nose. And as you exhale, so you do that. I'm going to talk. What's going to be tricky for you is that as you exhale, there's going to be a tendency for your body to collapse down with the exhalation. So you really want to be maintaining that nice postural alignment that you've achieved with the relaxed neck and shoulders and the chin tucked and the back of the head lifted. So you want to maintain that posture as you are doing your inhalation, and especially as you're doing that slow, prolonged exhalation. So keep doing that. So you now have your A and your B, and you're working on it, you're maintaining it. The last thing I want to say about why I encourage you all to become more conscious of and more focused on the exhalation portion of your breathing, at least two reasons. One is that exhaling, blowing out, tends to be a stress reducer. Right? What do you do when you've had a lot of stress? You'll often hear people heave a sigh of relief. Well, a sigh is a form of exhalation, but now you're just doing it for your own well-being. The other reason that I'm encouraging you to focus on a slow, prolonged exhalation is because it helps to, shall we say, compress the lungs and help squeeze out stale air, or what we in physical therapy we'll refer to it as residual air that sits in the corner of the lungs. And most of us do not breathe deeply enough or focus on the exhalation enough so that we get rid of that stale air. And now, if we've done that, when we breathe in, there's more room in the lungs for oxygenated air. And that's your source of energy. So you've got alignment, lengthen open, chin tucks, shoulders drop down and back. You've got slow, prolonged, conscious breathing, slow, prolonged exhalation. We're going to take a moment to talk about centering, which is simply your mind and your body working together when you're doing something. And it's interesting, my Medicare insurance, I happen to be with United Healthcare, and I just received their magazine for health and well-being. And wouldn't you know that one of the topics was about for helping us prevent injuries and stay safe and even be more efficient when we work, is to focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to multitask. So I consider centering a way of really being conscious of what you're doing. So I don't care if you've got to jot a note. I don't care the most minor thing or the most major thing. Just focus on that thing when you're doing it. When you're done doing whatever you're going to do, you stop and you go on to the next thing. I think in previous classes, I've mentioned something called start, change, stop. And that's how to approach whatever tasks we may be working on. You start the task, you start a phone call, you start washing a dish, whatever it is. And you start the task, the change is whatever the task is, you do it, and then you declare it finished. When you've done the task, end of task, on to the next one. And my own personal experience is that it has really allowed me, first of all, to accomplish more. Right? Believe it or not, you accomplish more by just doing one thing at a time. Boom, boom, boom. And the next thing is, I'm getting more done with fewer mistakes. Okay, so we've aligned, we're breathing. Let's do some exercise or movement. So I want to get more mobility in the head and neck. So lengthen, open, shoulders down and back. We've already done the chin tuck. Let's do your right hand. I give you mirror image up to the top of your head, only as far as you can go comfortably and safely. Do not try to keep up with me or whoever may be around you. Your arm may not go this high. What I'm most interested in is that your posture stays good as we do the exercise. So I don't care if your hand doesn't get to your head. What you're watching for is that your trunk stays nice and vertical. And of course, that you keep that nice breathing pattern. But I can do this. So now we're going to just tip the head to your right, only as far as you can go comfortably. It's not going to be a big move. Now we're going to use yoga stretching technique. We're going to breathe in through the nose. And as we exhale, we're going to let the head go a little further. We're not going to force it. We're not going to bounce it. It may not go at all. Okay. Just whatever it can do, let it go. Don't force it. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. Now, a lot of us have arthritis in the neck. It's okay. Just do not force it. Do not cause yourself pain. One more time in through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. And let's release with your right hand. Return to your center. Do a few shoulder rolls. I don't care which way you go. Whichever way you've gone, go the other way. All right, keeping that nice lengthened posture throughout. Okay, now your left hand. With align, breathe, center. We always start with the ABCs. Left hand up to the head. Let it tip as far as you can comfortably. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, see if it can go a little further. Again, we're not tipping the body. That's the tricky part. We really want to keep that vertical alignment. One more time, two more times. In through the nose. As you exhale, see if it'll go a little further. One more time in through the nose. As you exhale, see if it'll go a little further. Release with your left hand. Turn it down, return to your center. Do a few shoulder rolls, keeping that nice tall posture. This is so easy to lose it. Do shoulder rolls the other way. All right, I think I'm going to combine. That's all I'm going to do with the head right now. Where is it? No, we should do the rotation too. Okay, so align, breathe, center, make sure that chin is tucked. You're going to turn your head to the right as far as you can comfortably, and through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. And through the nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. You're trying to look over your right shoulder. One more time in through the nose. Try to exhale. And try to exhale. Exhale, try to go a little further. Keep your head turned to the right. Let your eyes look up to the left. Let your eyes look down to the right. Let your eyes look up. Let them look down. Make a circle in one direction. Keeping your head turned the whole time. Let your eyes turn. Rotate around in the other direction. Stop in the center. Slow motion. Return to your center position. Let's make sure that the chin is tucked. Do a couple of shoulder rolls one way. A couple of shoulder rolls the other way. Okay, align. Okay. Shoulders drop down and back, chin is tucked. Turn your head to your left. I know what I forgot to do. Okay, next session. All right, and take a breath in through your nose. As you exhale, see if you can go a little further. In through the nose. Go a little further. Last time, in through the nose. Go a little further. Stay here. Let your eyes look over to the right, to the left, up, look down. Make a big circle with your eyes in one direction, and a big circle with your eyes in the other direction. Keeping that nice lengthened posture, shoulders down and back, return to the center. Okay, a couple of shoulder rolls. One way and the other way. All right, let's do a little more stretching with the arms. I'd like you to just imagine yourself, well, first of all, ABC, align, breathe, center. All right, press the arms forward. And I want you to think of trying to push against a wall or an object, something that you really want to push against. So, don't just raise them. Really bring those wrists up and back and press like with the palm or the heel of your hand. Really push as hard as you can. Keeping that tall posture. Good. Pull back. Pinch those shoulder blades. Good. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Oh, I just felt something crack. That felt good. All right. Let's go. Let's push again. Pull back. And keep the chin tucked. So you want to be careful that you're not looking up and arching your neck. So you keep that straight ahead gaze, like you're looking at your eyes in a mirror. One more time, we're going to push. Really press. Okay, drop your left hand down. Right hand up to the ceiling. Stretch. Keep the chin tucked because you're going to be tempted to look up. And just see if you can scratch across the ceiling tiles. Really pulling up from your center, right? This is also a center, just under your belly button. So the arm is as high as it can be, close to your ear as it can be. And you're just trying to, well, I've talked about reaching the top frame, the top corner of a door. So if you're in a doorway, this is perfect. Just reach towards the top corner of the door frame. Return to the center, release, a couple of shoulder rolls one way, a couple of shoulder rolls the other way. And with your left hand, reach up. Nice lengthened spine, pulling up from your center. So another nice thing about the center is you can think of it as an energy center. So imagine all your moves coming from down here, right below the belly button. All right, that will also keep you from developing unwanted tension up around the neck and shoulders. So they kind of stay down, even though you're lifting your arm up, trying to get your fingernails right through those ceiling tiles or to the top of the door frame. And now you're just going to reach up and towards that other corner of the door frame. So you're going to feel a stretch right through the side of your side. That's good enough. Okay, nice reaching. So it's a lengthening. You don't want to go too far because you don't want to be compressing. Okay, you'll notice if I go too far, I'm actually compressing on my right side. So I want to be thinking of lengthening through the whole move. And slowly return to the center, release down. Let's do a couple of shoulder rolls. Okay, and a couple of other shoulder rolls. All right, let's get down to the legs. So you're on the front of your chair. And we're lengthened and we're opened and our chin is tucked. your right leg forward. You know what, I'm gonna back up because I don't think you can see my feet. All right, so I'm just gonna turn sideways so you see what's happening here. And actually, okay, so lengthen, open, chin tuck. Leg is stretched out as far as you can in front of you. So you will probably be feeling a pull behind your knees, your thigh, maybe down to your calf. I want you to point the toes down as far as you can. Right? You don't get extra points for doing things fast in this class. Flex the foot up. This is dorsiflexion. And really pull it up as far as you can. Really feel even your toes trying to reach up and back. You're going to feel a strong pull behind your calf. Slow motion, point down. Feel those toes getting involved. Let's start waking the feet up more. Now again, when you're home doing this barefoot or with stocking feet can be wonderful. Just be safe. All right, we're going to flex up again. And the whole time we're doing this, you'll notice we're keeping the nice straight posture with the chin tucked, shoulders down and back. We're working from the belly button down. All right, one more time, we're going to point. We're going to flex or dorsiflex, you know the term. Slow motion. I'm going to give you front view, slow motion. We're going to make as big a circle as you can with just the foot and ankle, and also feel how your toes are opening and lifting or curling as you point down. So try to get at least 4 of them in on one side. Also, at the same time you're doing this, you're maintaining that posture and breathing. All right, after you've done 4 to one side, reverse it and go the other direction. Slow motion. I've used the image before of you imagining that there's a paintbrush or something like that, so that you're trying to draw the biggest circle possible with your big toe. And remember, you don't need to look at your big toe while you're doing it. You really want to cultivate your ability to sense what's going on from the inside out. In fact, you know, when you're doing these at home, you might want to close your eyes. Okay, we're going to return to start, but wait. ABC. Okay. Slow motion. That's the other part of Thera-Fitness. We do things in slow motion. So keeping that posture, working from your center, just below the belly button, bring the leg, bend it, bring it back up, and try to keep your spine from ziggy-zagging or whatever it's going to want to do. So, okay, here we go again. ABC. Your left leg goes out as straight as possible. I'm going to give you profile again. And we're going to, keeping the posture, not looking down, point down, flex up, point down, and again, try to feel those toes. Start sending some love their way. And lift up. And point down. And lift up. Wake those toes up. Tell them to come alive. All right, and now you should do about 4 of those. I lost count. Start your ankle circles. Keeping that posture. And the breathing, working from the belly button down. I don't think I've ever said that before in this class, never quite expressed it that way. But it's a good way to think about just sending energy from here and not developing unnecessary points of tension. So you're kind of on your own here. Hopefully you've been making big circles in one direction. And after you've done about 4, You're gonna go in the other. Way around. Okay. All right. Let's reinforce that posture. Get your core, get your center anchored, and slow motion. Let's bring that leg up and back. Good. Let's go to the, since we're doing foot and ankle, I want to really focus on that today. So I want you to give even more love and attention to your feet, from your toes, your arches, the whole foot. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go up on the toes. And we're going to slowly try to drop the foot down to the side. So you want to try to keep your posture as always. Also, many of us have lost flexibility over the years. Do not expect to be able to go down the way I'm able to do with my feet right now. I've been doing this a long time. Let's go back up on the toes. Really right onto the tippy toes. So you feel all the muscles in your foot working. And at the same time, your postural muscles are working because you're doing that too. All right, and down to the other side. So you're going to try to keep the knees forward and do as much of the movement with the foot and ankle as possible. Up on the toes again. Down onto your right sides of your feet. And up onto the toes again. Down onto the left sides of your feet. I'm going to do this one more time. Up onto your toes again. Down onto the right sides of your feet. Up on your toes again. And last time down on the left sides of your feet. All right. And back to the toes and drop down to the center. And maybe just want to. We're going to do the come to standing. I'm going to give you profile. You're going to be at the edge of your chair, however you need to get there. The ABC, align, lengthen, open, those shoulders drop down and back, chin tucks back, back of your head lifts up, keeping that nice straight spine. We're also going to have one leg, if one of your legs is stronger than the other, that's the one you want stepped a little bit further back. I want you to watch my spine. I'm keeping it straight as I bend forward. Now, many of you are going to need help coming to standing, so if you have an armrest on your chair, use it. If you need to push on your chair to start coming to standing, do that. For those of us that don't need to, you might just find that putting a little pressure on your knees so they go back, and then your hips so they go forward. So let's have you come to standing. Slow motion, lean forward. Nice. Beautiful. I can't see people online there, but my people here are doing great. Now, we want to strengthen these sit and stand muscles. And we do that starting in the standing position. Make sure that one leg is always touching the chair. We do our lengthening, opening, shoulders down and back, chin tucks. Now, the way we're going to start sitting is we're going to think about working from below the belly button, the center, which is also where the hips are in this case. I want you to think of pressing the hips back and letting your body bow down. Now, if you don't have the strength to control the complete sit, then what you can do for strengthening is just go as far as you can, come back up to standing. And the other thing I want to say about standing is when you do come to standing from a seated position, do a little stretch, keeping the head forward. Oh, nice. I just did another crack there. All right. I'm doing well today. All right, so let's do the slow motion sitting. At least one leg touches the chair. So we always start ABC. Line, breathe, center. Working from the center, hips go back. And I like to think of bowing, because that kind of gets you in that nice lowering position. Another image is, imagine if there's an egg on the chair and you don't want to break it. You're doing great. I mean, what I can promise you is that the more you repeat this and you do it as a conscious exercise, the stronger you will get, barring some kind of condition. So let's come to standing again, switch. If you want to strengthen a side that may be weaker, let that be the one that's a little further back. Okay, so we aligned. Shoulders drop down and back. Chin tucks, back of the head goes up. I'm going to bow forward. If you need help to come to standing, if you need an armrest or something. And the other thing, if you have needed to use an armrest or something, see how soon you can switch from using that support to maybe just hands on your knees and working from there. So this is one of the most important exercises that you can do. Or we're going to stay standing. You know what I think? How are we doing? Let's do a quick stretch of the hips. So get behind your chair. A, B, C. And whichever leg is easier for you, just reach it behind you. You want to be able to have both feet flat on the floor. So if you can only go with a little step, fine. You can take a bigger step, fine. I just don't want you going back so far that you can't get the heel on the ground. Only as far as you can. And now just see if you can bend into the stretch. Now what we're doing is we're stretching the calf muscles of the leg that's behind you. And normally when you do this, you want to be able to stay for several seconds. For the sake of time, I'm not going to have us stay that long, but I do want you to see how you can maintain that postural alignment and your breathing while you're doing the stretching. The next thing to remember is that in slow motion, working from your center, from just below the belly button, I want you to lift and bring yourself back up to standing. Take a breath through that nose, through your nose. Let's step back with the other leg. Keep that nice postural alignment. And let the front leg bend so that you start getting the stretch in the calf muscle of the leg that's behind you. Keep that tall posture. So, you'll find that you're pushing your hips, by pushing your hips forward, that's what's increasing the stretch down at your heel. And as I said, when you do this at home, which I hope you do, you want to try to maintain the position for at least 6 seconds. We're not going to do that now. You would also repeat it several times on each leg. And like everything else that we're doing, you want to be doing this throughout your day. Like whenever you're standing at the sink or somewhere, start integrating these moves and these techniques with your everyday activities. So functioning, working from your center, slowly return to the starting position. All right, I'm going to get in front of the chair again, do a little bit of balance. So we've done this before. Again, this is just to help us increase our awareness, our proprioceptive awareness, the body's ability to feel where it is. So we're going to align, breathe, center, ABC. And slowly, I'm going to give profile. Slowly, get back, keeping that alignment. Just shift your weight forward as far as you can, keeping that tall posture. Right, my toes are digging into the ground right now. All right, and just kind of stay there. Really allow the feet to develop their ability to respond when we need them to for balance. So you don't want to be looking down. You want to be inside your body, feeling what's going on. So you want to be looking straight ahead when possible. Doing this in front of a mirror is great because if you're looking at your eyes in the mirror, then that'll be having your head in a good position. All right, let's return to the center. Shift your weight back onto your heels. It's not going to be a big move. When you're doing this on your own, you're going to spend more time with it than we are today. But this is what you want to be doing. This is just back to the center, shifting your weight. Woo! Just lost my balance, but I caught it. So this is what you want to develop, is the ability to sense your weight on the front and back of your feet. I'm going to return, and we're going to do side weight shifting. So ABC, and just shift your weight, staying tall. So you might imagine having a pencil or something at the top of your head and just trying to draw a straight line across the ceiling. That's going to help you keep that nice tall posture. So you should be feeling your weight on the right sides of your feet. Right? This is where you can really start tuning into them. We're going to return to the center. And again, moving from our center, we're going to shift the weight to your left side. Your feet staying tall. Imagine that you're trying to mark up the ceiling with a straight line, nice and tall. And return to the center. All right, we've got a little bit of time. So normally we would do more repetitions. I spent a lot of time talking about feet in the beginning. Let's just do some walking. And what I'm going to be reminding you to do is become aware of heel-toe walking. Just my people that are here just can head around the room. So become conscious of how your weight goes from your heels to your toes. Whoops, you know. So there's your nice heel-toe. I think I've mentioned before that when the weather gets warmer and you can walk in the grass, or especially on the beach in the sand, it's one of the best ways to get your feet, give your feet the conditioning that will help all of us with balance. So there's your heel toe. The other thing you want to do is start lengthening your stride length. Like may take longer steps, slow, long steps. Right? That's also going to help with your balance. As you are confident, as you're able to, you want to pick up speed. You can add a little swagger to your walk, because actually what that does is it helps your body with the weight shifting that it needs for good, youthful, I'm going to call it youthful walking. So you've got the heel toe, you've got the lengthened stride, you've got an increased speed. Your ability to walk in circles or figure eights is all going to be helpful for developing balance, walking backwards. Now, I will say, if you need an assistive device or somebody with you, please always be safe. Never take risks. A lot of your balance work can be done in a doorway. possibly with a chair behind you, and just start integrating these things. Align, breathe, center, integrate them into everything you do during the day. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week. Bring friends, all right? The more the merrier. And the other thing is I would love to hear from you, know if you have any questions. I'd like to know how you're doing with the Thera-Fitness classes. If there's anything you'd like me to address that I haven't, there's so much out there. So thank you for being with us today, and look forward to seeing you next week.